is revolutionary.
Fusion reaction in T-minus 3, 2, 1. Fusion!
You don't know the power. The math is incredible.
Fusion reaction.
Oh, hell yeah.
Get to the chopper!
Press go up.
Gigantic fusion reactor that just works.
Multiple income streams and real yield. Jeeps can no longer dump on your heads. The revolutionary decentralized finance protocol. Fusion reaction in T-minus 3, 2, 1. Fusion!
You don't know the power. The math is incredible.
Fusion reaction.
Oh, hell yeah.
The mothership.
And what's it gonna do?
Everybody excited?
Oh, hell yeah.
Give my creation!
Fusion.
Get ready to rumble.
Fusion.
Gotta do a huge shout out to Cool Sheet. That song just hits.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to EMP.Money. My name is AJ, I am the team lead here, and this is our live AMA. We come to you every Monday and Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern, and I'm excited to say welcome back to my co-host with the most and fellow team member, LA, how are you?
Thank you for the warm welcome. I'm good. I'm so happy to be back. It was a nice few days off to rest after our crazy AMA train, but back and raring to go. So it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, no doubt. We've been burning the candle at both ends. Both LA and I took a little bit of time over the weekend, but that never means that we're far away. I mean, again, we still are grinding behind the scenes, but yeah, we're back at it today. A bullish developer meeting this morning. EMP is officially now, EMP Fusion is officially now just over 2 weeks old, and we're off to an amazing start. So we're going to go over a lot of things today. Hopefully it won't be as long as it usually is. I know we've been on a roll with like 2 hour plus AMAs, but we have a lot to go over. As always, we will take questions at the end. And, the major topic of today is, what makes EMP Fusion a game changer. And we'll talk about that specifically throughout. So, all right, awesome. That being said, LA, you ready to get started and dive right in?
Yeah, I am.
All right, killer. So again, like I said, we are celebrating just over 2 weeks of our official EMP Fusion launch. And again, we said it all along, but we are way ahead of schedule and everything is looking extremely healthy. Again, we've, maybe lost a little bit of momentum just with the overall market and, some swing traders, but they're out now. And, we have all the fundamentals here to make EMP Fusion a massive success. and we'll talk about this as the specifics here in a minute. But the bottom line is every day more and more EMP is going into EMP Fusion, and with that, it means that every time there is a new deposit into or sacrifice into EMP Fusion, the circulating supply of EMP is reduced. And that is really all that matters, because even if there is no more buying and selling of EMP, period, as long as people are still sacrificing and we as a treasury, can buy EMP off the market, or create more attractive yield in Fusion, which then makes people want to go and buy EMP to get involved. There's just so many things that put us in an amazing position that no other protocol has, and it really boils down to real yield. And again, we'll talk about that specifically as we get further here. But the bottom line is every day we see more EMP being taken out of the circulating supply means that we're one step closer to reaching peg and maintaining peg indefinitely. So and again, I mean, based on the math and the on-chain data, we're looking at anywhere from 50,000 to upwards of 100,000 EMP a day. That's going into Fusion. So that is still an amazing speed in terms of reducing that daily, reducing the circulating supply daily. So again, everything is going according to plan. We always said that it would be a slow and gradual rise back to peg, and we're more than confident on that as we have ever been. And again, in terms of really, when you zoom out and really look at when we announced Fusion, the official launch date, and really started building momentum, we are way ahead of the trend line, so to speak, of getting to peg. So things are again super promising, and we're busy always behind the scenes developing additional features and implementing a lot of suggestions that all of you have made. We have a specific Discord channel now in the Discord for suggestions, and we're already implementing some things, as well as some alpha that I'll hopefully be able to tease a little bit towards the end. That again could be a major, again, to use the word of the day, game changer in terms of arbitrage. So, all right, and then again we finished our AMA train. It was a one for the record books. But we have come to an end with that. There are a few more standalone videos going out, and Crypto Kings as well as Crypto Pride have been doing some amazing ongoing coverage for us as well. But there will be a whole second wave on the way as well once we again are after this initial rollout, until all of that is also super promising for continuing the momentum. So, LA, anything you want to add to that? I know, again, it's been quite the journey in only 2 weeks, but everywhere you look is bullish for sure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It honestly feels like both yesterday and 2 months ago at the same time that we launched Fusion.
For
But
sure.
there's so much amazing momentum. We were just having a chat before this, and we are more confident and excited than ever that everything we plan to do is going to come to fruition. And if you only knew about some of the bullish stuff we've been working on behind the scenes over the last few days alone, you'll get very excited when we're able to give you all the details. So
Totally. Yeah, if you know us, we always have something up our sleeve. I mean, we are as transparent as humanly possible, and we take you along the ride of actual development in real time. But there are some things that again we like to keep as a surprise for everybody. And this one particular thing that should be ready, fairly shortly, is really going to help with the peg recovery as well. So, all right. That being said, I mentioned it a little bit in the opening, but the suggestions tab. You want to go over that, LA? I know you set it up and have been monitoring it a little bit in Discord, but just maybe remind everybody that process and not to abuse that tab either.
For sure. So we have already had so many great suggestions rolling in over the last several days. And we are continuing to go through them all, and we're even already starting to implement some of them. So if you do have a suggestion for Fusion, make sure to go and head over to the suggestions tab on Discord. Quickly give a read through everyone else's to make sure that yours wasn't already posted, and then go ahead and leave it there. And just a reminder that that tab's not meant to be used for any complaints or anything like that. It's for community suggestions of bullish things that you want to see implemented into Fusion.
Perfect. All right. Awesome. Yeah. And again, I mean, like as I said, we've already been getting a ton of great feedback on some things, and some of those things we'll be implementing hopefully again within the next few weeks, 100%. So. And real quick too, before we keep going here, shout out to all of you in the chat. I see we have Crypto Pride, we have SK Crypto K, a lot of some great coverage and support from those guys. So please make sure you show them some love. Again, we've seen a lot of great uptick in our socials, but it's really important that you also are supporting the other content creators that are supporting EMP. So definitely check them out. And yeah, much more to come from everybody. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube page. That is one of our revenue streams. So again, it may not be much now, but every little bit adds up, and hopefully when we hit, full bull run, when when crypto YouTube is popping off, we get a lot more people coming and watching the channel. So again, ad revenue from the YouTube channel is brought back to the EMP Fusion ecosystem. So you're all of you that are here and listening and tuning in are again supporting the cause and helping your own bags. So, all right, moving on now to Peg. So again,
Did we?
yeah, okay.
Sorry, I think we missed one.
Oh, did we? Oh, I must have. Oh, I did a big section. My bad. Thank you, LA. So yeah, then this is some bullish news. Sorry, I'm all over the place with our notes today. So the Microgrid Marketplace, we have a major announcement for those that saw it earlier, the last or later last week, I guess. The Microgrid Marketplace has now officially switched over from BNB to now using eSHARE. So again, this is along the lines of our original vision, and obviously, we needed to make sure the infrastructure was set up, people were good to go, there are no potential exploits, people understand how everything works, and so now, moving forward, all of the secondary sales with the marketplace will be settled in eShare. So let me go ahead and pull it up. I think that would help illustrate here. Give me 1 second. And LA, I don't know if there's anything I'm going to fill in while I get all this pulled up.
Yeah, so when he pulls that up, you'll see that the existing listings that haven't been taken down yet by the individual users will still be up there. So if you're looking at a listing that was posted before we made the change, those ones are still listed in BNB. And until those users either sell those or take them down and relist them, they will remain in BNB. But everything new that's gone up since the change will be processed in eShare.
Perfect. So again, this is the marketplace, and you will go down here to microgrids, and there you go. As LA was saying, everything below this marker right here is the V1 market and BNB. Again, if you do have one of those listed, you are probably, it would be good just for visuals to remove that and then relist using eShare. However, again, if any of those orders do get filled, it will be you're not losing out on any rewards or anything like that. So, but moving forward, everything above that line will all be in eShare. So again, as you can see up here, all the sacrifice points are calculated in eShare price. So this is bullish because not only is it adding more utility and potential volume to eShare, but once we are able to transition to our own DEX, the more volume that we have on eShare, the more potential fees that go back into the ecosystem. And if you're bullish on eShare, this is a way to kind of accumulate some eShare without ever having to sell, other like EMP outright or other assets. It's a way to just earn eShare over time, selling parts of your microgrid to other users. So yeah, super super cool. And again, should really, I mean, as soon as we rolled this out, eShare started looking a lot more healthy. Uh, as well. We had a nice pump, and we've still been making higher lows over the last like week and a half. So ever since Fusion launched. But all right, awesome. Anything else while I have the screen share up, LA?
I think that's it for that section, but quite bullish news. I'm very excited about this. We wanted to get this implemented as soon as possible, and so it is finally here.
Perfect. All right, awesome. Let me get back. Hang on one second. And yeah, if any of you have questions regarding that, please feel free to leave that on the live chat as well. So, all right, one more second. My apologies. All right, I think we are good now. So, again, that was great utility for eShare, and we're always continuing to, support eShare in everything that we implement. So, all right, now moving on to what I was going to talk about, PEG. So, I didn't skip anything else, did I, LA? Sorry.
No, you're good.
All right, so again, we've seen and we just stated all the incredible reasons why peg recovery is always ahead of schedule, but I just want to confirm and reiterate a few things. So, over the last few days, we see things floating around the same range. That is obviously in with a lot. It's due to a lot of things. Number one, the market overall has still been pretty uncertain. Even yesterday we didn't really see any buying or selling on EMP, but EMP went up uh, pretty substantially because we had a really quick pump in the price of Ethereum. So you can see that even now, even though we really haven't regained peg, we're still mirroring a lot of the volume or volatility rather of actual Ethereum. So that is something really cool to see on the chart because again, everything that we say will happen is happening. It's just at a much lower value right now because we haven't recovered peg. But that gives you full exposure to Ethereum by having EMP. And again, don't take my word for it. Just look at the LP and the math and the chart itself. So I think once we start seeing ETH find a floor, then we will absolutely start, the momentum again. And, again, just to remind everybody, this is going according to plan. We have a very wide trend line that is way, way ahead of schedule. And until we even get close to that, there's nothing to be worried about. We just continually buy and sacrifice EMP, both as a protocol and as a community, every little bit, day by day. So, and all of this is what we expected. Again, we tried to really give people a good perspective and set, very clear expectations. But, the chart just can't go up and to the right forever on a short time frame. In a long-term time frame, absolutely. And again, if you zoom out on the EMP chart, you can absolutely see, a very, very clear trend line. So, this is all part of the journey back to peg. So, LA, you want to add to that at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's not that much more that I could say, but just keep in mind that every single day there's more and more EMP being sacrificed. Like we said at the beginning, that circulating supply is lowering and lowering and lowering every single day. And eventually we're going to get to a point where there's not that much EMP left. And while we're doing everything else in our plans to help with PEG, and while the community is also, organically buying and sacrificing EMP, all of these things work together. And it's going to get easier and easier as we see more and more of the EMP removed from the market. And then also with some of the things that we are going to be implementing as well that you'll find out about soon.
Yeah, no doubt. I see Cool Sheet in the house, the dagger in the heart. Yeah, that was something I said in the VIP group. What we're rolling out is going to be a dagger in the heart to all the haters. Again, that are soft funding the returns or the dashboard money that you are seeing as your microgrid value. And so we'll talk more about that. Again, hopefully, I don't want to drop too much alpha today, but we'll see if I can allude to that at the end a little bit for those that stick around the whole time. But one thing I did want to kind of do a little bit of a deep dive on is a discussion I had in the Crypto Kings Telegram. And if you watch one of his recent videos, you can read the entire discussion. But I'll go over it, the Cliff Notes version, or the TLDR. But basically, it explains why EMP Fusion is a game changer. And, that is also today's topic. And it really boils down to one simple thing, and that is real yield. What we have here is something that no other protocol has. No other protocol has exposure to actual full-fledged decentralized exchanges, a very healthy treasury yielding, thousands of dollars a day alone. I mean, there is just every puzzle piece possible that is now in play with EMP Fusion, and that again is a game changer because we're not doing a fundraiser, we're not trying to get a healthy backing. Everything is already in place, and that was why we rolled things out the way that we did. And it guarantees that over time, again, like I said earlier, even if there is no buying and selling whatsoever on EMP alone, because of all these real revenue streams, over time, it will buy and burn the EMP itself. And so, again, that is why we are so confident in this recovery plan and how powerful EMP Fusion will be once we do get to PEG. So that's kind of the overall gist. There have been some soft FUD in his group specifically, or even in our own group, about APR, which again we'll talk about APR next. But you have to realize that a couple of things. Number one, the true APR, at least for right now, is calculated based on your actual investment into EMP Fusion. So if you're calculating your APR based on the actual peg value of your microgrid, you're not really getting an accurate number. And on top of that, even if you did get a low number in terms of APR by calculating it that way, you also have to take into account that your microgrid is appreciating in value. So, you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting a price appreciating asset and you're getting APR that comes along with it. Now, obviously, we have to scale the APR as we get closer to the real market value of your microgrids because we want new users to come in and again feed the system, so to speak, and make it attractive. So obviously, we know that we need to scale the APR as we get back to PEG and market values are realized, and that is a whole part of the plan. Again, we've gone through all of this, 1,000 times over, and prepared ourselves for this. So, we have the game coming out, which could literally be $100,000 a day, or more, eventually going to, EMP Fusion, just basing it off other, crypto-related games that we have experienced. We're expanding what we're calling our mega decks, that will have, even more, fees, both from swaps, and bridging and the auto vaults. I mean, you name it. So there is a really clear plan of scaling the APR with new users as they come in. And on top of that, we also could do a total of a 10x or more by, the end of the year in terms of the overall crypto market. So all of that is good news for higher APR prices down the road. And last but not least, again, we will be buying, other microgrids and burning them to get rid of the sack points and make existing users get a higher APR, even if there is no additional revenue. So all of this is accounted for, all of it is planned for, and other people. There's two other arguments that I think have a little bit of merit. Number one is protocols that maybe also having real yield, but a lot of those protocols require you to have what we call a sunk cost, where you have to ROI from the rewards alone, because you can never get your initial investment out. And so, with EMP Fusion, you're always able to sell. Now, granted, it might be at a discount or below market value, but the demand is really strong on the secondary market already. And, other users and us as a protocol will always be buying undervalued microgrids moving forward. And then last but not least, the other counter argument is uh, concentrated liquidity farming on your own. But that is not passive income. You have to have a massive amount of knowledge to do that. You get really high exposure to whatever assets you're in. So if one of those assets goes down dramatically, you get incredible and permanent loss. So although concentrated liquidity farming is very profitable, and again, real yield, it does require a ton to manage all of that successfully. So again, with EMP Fusion, you're getting the diversification of 8 revenue streams where even if one of those goes down, you're still earning. So EMP Fusion is way more safe, in my opinion, than going all in on one of these other strategies. So that was the overall gist. LA, does that make sense? I don't know if you want to add to that as well.
I thought that was such a bullish discussion and an important one to be had because as much as we're doing these AMAs, I think there's a lot of people that it's just not quite clicking for them yet how powerful this is. And if we need to explain it another 10 times, we're happy to do that because we want to make sure that everyone understands just how powerful Fusion is for a number of different reasons. And everything that AJ just went over, I mean, I couldn't personally be more bullish, but it on paper, Fusion makes so much sense. Not only because it's from a team you know and trust, but not only the current ability to yield, but the future value of your microgrid as well. I mean, it's just insane. So
Yeah, no doubt, LA. Again, it's all relative, and like you said, if we have to explain it 100 more times, then we'll absolutely do that. But I think as we move forward, people will start having, the aha moment or the light bulb moment that we always talk about. And yeah, I mean, again, when you actually look at the real math, and we'll talk about this next in terms of actual APRs, but there is no other option out there. And trust me, I've looked. I mean, I participate in almost every, protocol out there as part of my, market research and just as a crypto user on my own. I try to profit in crypto without, utilizing our own protocols just so I don't dilute anybody, or obviously we never dump on people's heads. But I can promise you, and that was one of the other things why we designed EMP Fusion, because EMP Fusion is the ideal protocol that I have always wanted in crypto, and it has all the fundamentals that we look for as seasoned, crypto investors. So safety, security, track record, team, real yield. I mean, you name it. I could go on and on and on. And that's not us blowing our own or tooting our horn. It's just the reality of the situation. And while other protocols are literally failing, from 2.5 years ago when we started, um, we're still here paying out every day, regardless if you feel the APR is high or low. I mean, that is passive income that you can rely on. So, again, I think it's really, really powerful, and and people will see. The more that we continue payouts, the more that peg starts going up, the healthier eShare looks. Uh, those people will finally get it. But unfortunately, like LA says, it might be too late for those people to really get the full amount of value that everybody that is paying attention can get, right, LA? Maybe talk about that real quick about
Yes,
how everybody wants to
yes,
do what everybody else does, but by that point you're a little too late to the party, right?
yeah. I mean, the majority of people who are on here on this AMA, I think, are the ones who always show up and always listen. Who, most of you, it probably is already clicking for, and you're probably already taking advantage of this. But, um, I mean, if you deposit into Fusion, you're still getting a massive peg bonus. And if looking at your microgrid value doesn't excite you like it excites me, I don't even know what would excite you, because it is pretty damn, I'm going to say the word exciting again for lack of a better word. It's thrilling, it's an adventure. No, but to think about actually being able to realize that microgrid amount one day, whether it's, in 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, that you ever plan on selling any of your microgrid, you will have the ability to potentially realize that full amount. Because, down the line, depending on when you plan on selling any of it, there's going to be less and less and less and less EMP in existence. And so when we get to a point where all of the EMP is deposited into Fusion, there no longer becomes a need to heavily discount your microgrid when you're trying to sell your SAC points, because it's the only way to get into Fusion. And so people who are just only focusing on APRs, which we're going to go through next and show you the proper way to actually figure out what you're earning, but um they're missing this whole other piece. If you're keeping a large portion of your EMP on the sidelines to just kind of watch and see what happens, you're missing out on the ability to get that peg bonus. And that peg bonus is everything that your future self is going to thank you for. But there's too many people that, do sit on the sidelines until literally everybody is screaming about it. And that's just the way that life works in general, that people tend to behave that way. And at that point, we're likely already going to be back to peg. And it's not that they aren't still going to earn really well, um, for getting into Fusion, but they'll have to pay the actual amount at peg and get credited the actual amount at peg, because there's no more peg bonus. And so their
Totally.
ability to, whatever the X was when you got in, 7X, 8X, 9X, their future value and the ability to potentially one day sell off that value and have that money in your hands or in your wallet, um, they would have to put in way more, and the amount there would match what they put in. So it's just a lot less thrilling and exciting.
Yeah, no doubt, LA. Again, really great points. And before we talk about APR specifically, I think one more thing that's really important to discuss right now is the BBE, and that plays in extremely importantly to what LA was just saying. On top of this amazing opportunity right now, utilizing the BBE or buyback and earn is just, again, gains on top of gains. And it's only that way at the moment, again, to stimulate the repegging, to give all of you that are here early, that, bonus, for sticking with us. But the BBE is just so powerful. And, again, I mentioned it a little bit earlier in this topic discussion about, how you don't want to be late to the party. But the really cool part about EMP Fusion is once we are recovered, even if you're hearing this AMA a year from now, I would venture to say that it is just as attractive to get into EMP Fusion then as it was right now. Now, obviously, you're not getting the early peg bonuses, and by then you may or not be able to BBE because there may not be any more EMP left. But the idea is that the APR will scale. I mean, by then we could have up to 7 chains under our mega decks, collecting real revenue. By then, maybe, or by then for sure, the game will be out. I mean, who knows what kind of revenue we could see in a year from now, even if the bear market comes back. We're so well diversified that EMP Fusion could be even more powerful in a bear market because, again, you're earning from this real yield every day, depending on the success of our overall franchise, which, again, no other protocol is doing that, and that's why EMP Fusion is such a game changer. And once people get it, the momentum will be unstoppable. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about APR. Was there anything else you want to add to that, Ellie, before we get into APR?
No, I think our APR discussion will be complementary to that. So
Perfect. All right. So again, I'll do the math in a minute here for all of you, but I wanted to just kind of highlight, how to calculate your own individual APR because, again, I think that's really important. Unfortunately, and we just talked about this in our developer meeting today, it is nearly impossible for us to track every single wallet's entry into EMP Fusion based on what they bought EMP at. We would literally have to have a database of every on-chain transaction from each individual wallet to be able to do that. So the only way to calculate a true APR is using your microgrid value, but unfortunately right now that gives a way, way lower number than is accurate. And so, obviously we don't want to say an APR that is too high, but we also don't want to say an APR that is too low. So right now, again, all you can really rely on is the daily reward distribution, but you can absolutely do the APR calculation on your own as long as you're doing it correctly. So we had an amazing community member go through a complete example in Telegram. So I'll do my best to kind of recap, and then LA, you can chime in as well. But this is the hypothetical situation. So, if the value of your microgrid shows, say, $13,000, that likely means that you contributed somewhere in the range of about $2,888. That was before, the 4.5x of a peg bonus. So, again, utilizing those numbers, if you were earning, say, $2.62 a day. Obviously, that sounds low, but you times that number. So you take your daily rewards and times that number by 365. Now, again, that number may go up, that number may go down, and that's why APR is really a tricky calculation, but it at least gives you a ballpark. So in this instance, that would be $956, and 956 divided by the original contribution amount of 2,888 gives you roughly 33% APR. So again, the APR just over the last 2 weeks has been really attractive. And I know another protocol that says they are a community bank. I really don't like that. I cringe every time I hear that. But that being said, I do think there is some merit in comparing EMP Fusion as a home base to where, yes, the APR is not going to be, 200-300% a year, but, 33 to, 100% APR over the next, multiple years, 10 plus years from now, that is unheard of. And again, compared to traditional finance, is everybody, on the planet would choose that return, especially because it is much more safe, because of our revenue diversification than, some other, Ponzonomic or, zero sum, protocols are. So, Ella, you want to add to that? Hopefully,
Yeah.
the math was, again, you can look in Telegram for the exact equation, but, you can do the math, for your own account the same way.
Yeah, and I just wanted to give context to that example and what had been discussed prior to that answer being given. The user wrote in and just said, my my microgrid value is $13,000 and I'm only earning 2.62 per day. And like, if you phrase it that way, if you had actually deposited $13,000, then 2.62 per day would feel extremely low. But we really want everyone to understand how to properly calculate your APR so that you realize, like, and when Three Pair spelled this out, like, I love when math people add examples into the chats because it adds so much value to discussions. But when he spelt it out like this, I mean, a user who deposited around $2,800 to be earning almost $1,000 a month. Like,
A
think about
year.
how.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
A
yeah,
year.
here.
Yeah. You're
Sorry,
good.
sorry, sorry.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it's really good math if you compare it to other similar um, yields on,
Totally.
like, stable farms or staking pools for stables. Um, those are a lot lower, and so we're all actually earning quite well. I've said to AJ many times on phone calls, I don't understand why people don't get it. I feel like I've been earning incredibly well, like, because all of my EMP and LP and stuff were in the farms before, and I feel like we're earning just as much or more than we were in the farms. It's felt like more to me. So um, I'm not a math girl, but this math that he paints it out perfectly. So
Yep, 100%. And again, we're happy to help reiterate the calculation, but you have to really add up what you actually invested into EMP Fusion. Then you take your daily rewards, you times that by 365, again, a day, or a year in days. That will give you a number, and then you take that number and divide it by your original contribution amount, and that will give you your APR. So, it is something that we are trying to illustrate. And, obviously, like I said earlier, when people are getting into Fusion at, the $13,000 market value of microgrids, then the APR has to scale. But by then it will, and we have the real plans in place to make that happen. And, on top of that, a healthy eShare price is also really important to this equation. And, as long as we continue in the direction we're going and we are, again, delivering on everything we said we are and will, and we have for 2.5 years prior to this, again, the attractiveness of EMP Fusion is only growing for sure. So, all right, awesome. I think that was a great overview. Hopefully that helped, people realize. And again, if you're, part of the community and you see people asking, what is the yield or what is your experience, use this sort of real math to explain to them. And again, we're not trying to hide anything. We're not trying to, do any kind of smoke and mirrors. It is what it is, and we're fully transparent with all of that. And again, a 33% APR, even at conservative numbers, is incredible. Again, considering that this is a well-diversified real yield protocol that is as safe as humanly possible when it comes to crypto. You know, and again, will only scale as we add more and more projects and protocols under our umbrella. So, all right, moving on then, tutorials. LA, this is your department. You've been killing it. You have 3 brand new tutorials out. You want to talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, so the first 3 of our tutorials were released last week. I know a lot of you have already had a chance to watch them. There's a whole lot more coming. So one of the ones that I'm going to be creating next is all about the marketplace and how to buy and sell microgrids. I was just waiting on the switch over to eSHARE before I did that one. But we're going to continue to build throughout all the basic how-to topics to get everyone familiar with the protocol. And then as we get farther into Fusion and we see more of the frequently asked questions, once the community has, maybe a month to kind of settle in and learn Fusion, once I then see what questions are still popping up a lot, that will give the inspiration for where to go next and get into some deeper topics in future videos. So you can find those on our EMP channel in the Fusion educational playlist. And that is where all the videos will be added. So if you keep checking back, we'll continue to have more and more on that playlist for everyone. And then one thing I did want to say is, I guess mostly the admins would be able to do this because the links, you're not allowed to post links in the groups, but when people are asking questions in the group that would be answered in these videos, you can refer them to the playlist. That's kind of the intention, that everybody is seeing that same content, so they're learning about the protocol and educating themselves in similar ways through watching the videos and reading the white paper. And then that can help direct a lot of people to watch these videos and really get fully educated.
Amazing. Perfect. Yep, no doubt. And again, we'll be continually add to that educational series, even from other people that are creating content. We have, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, LA, but we have a section on Discord now, too, that highlights other content creator videos regarding Fusion as well, right?
Yeah, most of them have been posted in the announcements so far, but everything also goes onto our Twitter tab, which, by the way, in case you guys didn't know, there's a tab on our Discord that says Twitter, and every post that we make directly auto populates onto that tab. And so if you're looking for our newest posts to go and support, all you have to do is go to that tab, and you can I don't know, subscribe yourself to it. I don't know how that kind of stuff works on Discord, but hopefully you do. And you can become one of our Twitter raiders who gets a notification every time a new post comes up. So
Yep, absolutely. And again, I'm not a Discord expert either, but I believe you're able to right click on whatever tab and then it will give you notifications, like Ella said, on when something is posted there. So you'll be able to keep up to date. And again, I mean, we've said it many times, but a simple like or love on a tweet and a comment does absolute wonders for the algorithm and the engagement. Again, even if you're not able to bring any additional capital into EMP Fusion, and again, we always say never ever invest more than you can afford in anything that we put out, but this is a great way to help us with 0 additional capital, and it really helps your own bags as well. So, all right. One more or 2 more topics. The migration. So again, unfortunately, I don't have any updates with the DAAS migrations or any legacy contract migrations. We've been working on this special battery, which I'll give a little bit of alpha about next. But and a lot of UI updates. Hopefully by next week, we'll be able to start the migration process and really go through it all. Again, I've said it many times, but I'll say it again. The migration is a big deal because we really, number one, it's a lot of data. Almost all the DAAS contracts and legacy contracts are at the upper limit of what a Solidity smart contract can even, contain. And on top of that, when you are migrating, not only does it take a long time, it could take up to 8 hours for the code to process, but it's also very expensive. So the gas fees alone are a couple of $1,000s when migrating, and we have to do that for every single legacy contract. So we're definitely doing it again. Once that is implemented, hopefully it will jumpstart those contracts. But until we're closer to peg, and all those things are implemented to begin with, it's not as big a deal. And remember, all of you are still able to claim from those contracts or compound to again keep your ownership. But if you do claim on the 5-2 strategy twice a week, you can put that LP right into EMP Fusion. So you're still able to, essentially manually do what the migrations will accomplish anyway. And if you have eShare BNB LP from those contracts, then just break the LP and maybe use the BNB side to buy more eShare or buy more EMP. So again, not financial advice. All right, anything else, LA, before one more little bit of alpha on the batteries?
I want to drive this in one more time because of
Please.
one of the comments at the bottom of the screen right now, and I think that what Richard wrote is an absolutely normal way to think about things, and it's not FUD at all what he wrote. It's a very like normal way to think about things and to really focus on today's APR. But if you were farming, or I'm assuming everyone sees what he wrote and I don't have to read it out loud, but if you were farming and you're looking for higher returns, it's going to be a whole lot riskier because you're dealing with teams that potentially you don't know as well or trust as much, which could come along with the risk of a rug pull. You also don't know what's going to happen with those tokens, so you could experience a lot of impermanent loss. There's so many factors that are way riskier if you're looking for higher returns when you're farming. But what I really want to drive home that we've been going over for this whole AMA, and I really, really, really want to say it enough times to make sure everyone understands. There's a massive difference between fusion and regular farming or regular staking, because no other opportunity that I personally know of out there at this moment gives you the opportunity to fully realize your microgrid value in the future. Like, there is a very real potential to fully realize that amount that is written on your screen right in the middle there. And you're not going to get that if you're farming. And not that you would want to sell your entire microgrid, but let's just say you did in a year from now, and you took the difference between what you actually deposited and what you sold it for, and you divided it by 365 plus all the APR that you're earning on a daily basis. I guarantee you that would be a lot higher than any yield farming opportunity that carries a medium risk level or lower. So
I love it. Yeah, LA. Again, great. You can drive it home 100 more times because I think the more that we say it, the more it sinks in. And yeah, I mean, again, it is a long-term play, and there is nothing wrong with trying to yield farm on your own. What we always have suggested is bringing those profits back home to EMP Fusion. So a very good strategy. I know a lot more advanced users. I mean, they are loving meme season right now. Memes are super risky. They are very, speculative. Again, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. Memes absolutely have their place in crypto as long as you understand that it is as high risk as it gets and that there are many, many more losers than winners when it comes to memes. However, an amazing strategy would be to try to speculate on memes. Maybe you do hit some great profit in a meme, and then you lock in your gains by, getting more positions in EMP Fusion. Again, I don't like the comparison of a community bank or a savings account, because we're in crypto and we're the epitome of those entities and what they represent. We're the exact opposite of those. But if you apply those same concepts, absolutely, you can use EMP Fusion as a home base, to lock in your gains and then yield from those gains. Again, we feel that in perpetuity or, forever. And we have everything set up now to be completely decentralized that you can earn forever, assuming that crypto is still here, 100 years from now. All of this will be set up to run without any of us after, it's all said and done. So all of that is just really bullish. And again, I absolutely have a vision of people transferring their microgrids to their kids or grandkids, in the future. And we have that long-term vision. We've always had that long-term vision. And by then, again, it could be printing generational wealth, at that point. So I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We got to take it one bit at a time here. The first goal, and we said this a lot, we're doing this in steps, where the first step is peg recovery. The second step is peg maintaining and, APR growth. And the third step is no more EMP. The only way to get in is buying a microgrid from somebody else, and APRs are through the roof because, we're all one big private, basically fund earning forever. So those are the three steps that we are rolling out, and, over the next few years, all of those steps will be realized. So, all right, and then I want to add a little more alpha for those that stuck around, and LA, brought this up again about microgrid value and actually realizing your microgrid value when we are at PEG. We are working on a battery that, again, without going into too much detail, will essentially guarantee a profitable arbitrage on EMP to EMP Fusion. So take that for what it's worth. We'll have more info on this, but that alone could literally jumpstart the ecosystem even more in terms of, people buying EMP and sacrificing it, even if they don't care about Fusion or have a very short-term mindset. This will put, again, rocket fuel into the flywheel of getting back to peg. So keep an eye out for that. I'll let you all speculate on what that battery might be, but this will literally kill the argument of, well, my microgrid value is not real. So I'm super excited for that. And yeah, I mean, we have a lot more batteries coming as well. BTC battery, as well as hopefully a trunk battery. I know there's been a lot of hype around that, and even some other utility batteries that has been suggested from the community already, that, we're also trying to implement. So we have a ton of things in the pipeline, and over the next few weeks, not months, but weeks, you'll see a lot more momentum. So, all right, I think that's enough alpha for today. LA, you want to add to that, and then we can go into some questions, but go ahead.
I'm not going to add to that, but I do want to say one more thing. Just, sorry if you're sick of me saying this, but please protect your security. One thing I did want to warn you about today is that these guys keep joining our group and then posting this picture that basically makes it look like if you went to that website, you could get a much higher value for your EMP if you sold it there, or whatever they're trying to say. We're very good at deleting it and banning them, like usually within less than 10 seconds, 30 seconds. But if you do see anything like that pop up, do not go to that website. It is 100 million% a scam. So please do not go to that website. Luckily, they're not allowed to post links, or I'm sure they would, but there is a website shown on the photo. So just please do not do that. Also, we have been hearing from people that there is a fake pancake swap out there, and a lot of people who just Google pancake swap, they're not choosing the right one, they're connecting to it, and they're losing all their money. So please make sure any like important links that you have on your favorites, so that you can just click directly from there and you don't ever have to just randomly Google. If you are Googling, just absolutely be sure by verifying with, even by asking in the group, like, is this the right URL or whatever, because it's just not worth risking over not verifying things. So
Yep, totally. Again, we did have a permanent topic of security. I mean, we do talk about it every time, but on all AMAs, because again, the scammers are out there in full force, and it is something that we just have to deal with, in the space. So protect yourself, get a hardware wallet, be smart. If it sounds fishy, it probably is. Don't make a quick decision. Never Google something. Always have bookmarked tabs that you know are the legitimate websites. And yeah, when in doubt, do nothing and just wait for a real admin in our Telegram or Discord to give you some assistance. So, all right, awesome. Yeah.
awesome. Will is requesting an update on L1 Dex.
Yeah, so again, I know the last few weeks of AMAs have been, all focused around Fusion. That is the pendulum that swings, when we're focused solely on SparkSwap or Swap, then people say, why don't you talk about Fusion? When we talk about Fusion, everybody says, what about everything else? So we are going to get in a better groove of being able to cover everything all together. But right now, we just have to give all the shine, so to speak, to EMP Fusion. It will get much better over time as people are more familiar with Fusion and we don't have to answer all the questions or explain. But yes, in terms of L1 Dex, I mean, again, this mega Dex that we keep alluding to, that is essentially L1 Dex. So whether we use the L1X technology or our own technology, that is still meant to be seen. But the whole concept of L1 Dex is absolutely going to live on and come to life with a multi-chain option. So as far as what we're waiting on, it's the same thing we've been waiting on all along. We're hoping that in July everything based on L1X's timeline becomes public. That means a legitimate block explorer, that validator nodes are up and running in a much more decentralized capacity, because again, we don't want to ever launch something that is centralized, especially when we have an exchange that could potentially, have millions, if not, tens of millions, if not even hundreds of millions of dollars. We need to confirm that it is actually 100% decentralized and, up and running through, independent validator nodes that actually support the network. So there's a lot of things that we're still waiting on. I don't really have any more to say on that, but we're still trying to make it all work for sure. So okay, is that anything again, LA? You're welcome to add to that or move on. What more questions? Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few questions on Discord. Before we hop to that, I did see one in YouTube I wanted you to hit first, because I want people to understand why they're so wildly different. Could you explain the difference between Detonator and Fusion, why it's so much more powerful?
Yes, I love this. So I even saw a comment. Maybe I even shouldn't say this on the MA, but I saw a comment on one of the YouTube videos that was like, Fusion feels like the same black hole that Detonator was, and just it makes me laugh. because it's just pure haters that have no idea, about actual real yield or economics or whatever else. But there are so many differences between Detonator and EMP Fusion. We could do an entire AMA on this alone. But some of the major differences are Detonator was always and is billed as a game, a financial game. It is much more reminiscent of a traditional ROI contract. It is a sunk cost where you have to hope that your rewards will outweigh your investment or contribution. It is rewards are being given in an inflationary manner, again through the lottery and through the daily largest depositor, which we've said all along we're moving away from completely in Fusion. Um, again, to my sunk cost analogy, you can always sell in EMP Fusion, and the biggest, most glaring difference between EMP Fusion and Detonator is, again, the topic of today and what makes Fusion a game changer, and that is real yield. So, again, there is actual real revenue feeding into EMP Fusion, not just other users or other depositors that feed the revenue or rewards. It's not even revenue, just the rewards in, the DAAS contracts. And, again, we've always been fully transparent with that. I mean, all of the rewards, even though they are nowhere near as sustainable as real yield, there is a massive argument for the rewards of Detonator still being attractive in building your sacrifice points, once we do see a recovery. So again, there is no right or wrong answer. It really depends on your, preference. But at the end of the day, EMP Fusion is way more sustainable. It's pretty much the complete opposite of Detonator. And, both of them have their place. But in terms of building a future, a long-term sustainable future of real yield, I mean, EMP Fusion is it. I mean, again, I don't know. LA, you want to add
I
more
have
to that?
something
Go
else
ahead.
to add for sure, even though all of that was already super bullish. Fusion was built to solve the exact problem that a lot of people are experiencing right now when it comes to Detonator.
For sure.
So obviously you guys realize, but I don't think that you realize enough that, we're fine with it. We bear all the brunt of people's rage when they're upset about, Detonator rewards going down and everything. But the reason that has happened is because individual users have been claiming a lot more often than compounding. It's the users' decisions that are the reason for your rewards going down. That doesn't mean you in particular, because you could be someone that has compounded every day since the beginning. I don't know. But other people's actions have the ability to determine how much you earn on a daily basis. Fusion was invented and created to eradicate that exact problem. We don't want any user to be able to come along and make decisions that negatively impact everyone else. And so that is a big part of the traditional seigniorage protocol, that other users have the ability to affect your earnings. And inside Fusion, that problem is eradicated, as well as a number of the other traditional issues when it comes to seigniorage protocols. And so while the individual users in Detonator are, causing the pool balance to go down by claiming more often than compounding, and that's what we've seen over, the last year and a half while we have been below peg, we are building in mechanisms with V3 to really control that, and we are adding to it. And we do believe that when the whole ecosystem is booming again, the very reasons why people got into Detonator in the first place will still apply, like the ability to win the largest depositor prize, the lottery, all of these things. And especially when the LP is actually worth a lot more in dollar terms, your daily rewards will be more as well from a dollar perspective. But the main thing to consider is that Detonator is a game. It's always been a game, and it's always something that we have described as a game, whereas Fusion is a beast.
I love it. Yeah, totally. Oh man, mic drop moment, LA. And it is. We've created an absolute monster with EMP Fusion. And, people will see, again, unfortunately, it takes, 10 or more reiterations of why it is a monster. And even then, some people still won't get it. And that's okay. I mean, those that do, are along the journey with us, and it will be something that, again, LA and I have said it many times, but we don't want to say I told you so, but ultimately we will be saying I told you so, once the flywheel really starts happening. So amazing
I'm
stuff.
actually
Yeah.
really excited to say I told you so.
Yeah, totally.
So,
Oh,
AJ might not want to say it, but I am going to say it really loud and celebrate it, and buy a cake that says it, create some merch that says I told you so. There's going to be like a whole LA line of I told you so things that you can buy, uh, to, as Cool Sheet says, drive the, what did he say? Drive the dagger in the haters' hearts. Is that what
yeah,
he said?
exactly. Yes, driving a dagger in the heart of all the haters. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So most of that I'm kidding about, but that's the point. The people who get it and have been along for this journey are, you know, the people winning right now. The people who don't get it and, are fudding and all that stuff from the sidelines, they're gonna get it, and it's gonna feel so sweet, that victory.
Yep, 100%. All right, awesome. All right, I see two more good questions on the live chat. Do you want to go to those, or you want to go to Discord
Yep.
first?
Yep. So how does Fusion make money or use the money that we sacrifice if essentially we're sacrificing EMP and the EMP is being locked away because the EMP we sacrifice isn't being sold, right?
Yeah, 100%. So again, this is something that we, I guess, need to illustrate in more ways, but it's real revenue that we are generating, and it comes from literally 8 different streams. It's actually more than that, but we consolidate the dexes into one. So SparkSwap generates daily yield in terms of fees from literally everything it does. SparkSwap and Swap. So that's swap fees, bridge fees, auto vault fees, marketplace fees in the NFT marketplace, and perpetual fees. Our arbitrage bots. I mean, again, I could go on and on and on. Maybe we need to have an actual breakdown in a visual form of this, but that is real revenue that is feeding EMP Fusion. Our affiliate links where the top 10 refer of Spritz. We have multiple hardware wallet affiliates. We have the YouTube affiliate. All of that goes to EMP Fusion. EMP Fusion itself is uh, generating yield again through the marketplace, M Energy purchases, all the batteries and power cycles have a 3% fee. All the marketplace fees are 3%. So that is another revenue stream. We have a treasury that generates a ton of yield. That alone is becoming the number one yield source. Through many different things. Again, concentrated liquidity farming. Some manual trading. Investments and other protocols. You name it. So that is another revenue stream, and we're going to continue to add revenue streams. So I don't know if I forgot one, but again, you can see my point of that is real yield, and that has absolutely nothing to do with what is being sacrificed in terms of EMP into that equation. So the EMP that's being sacrificed, that is not a revenue stream. That is simply just burning the EMP out of supply. Now, in terms of other assets, again, we've always said until we're at peg, you shouldn't be sacrificing any, blue chips that you can or stables because you get much more credit through the peg bonus. Um, by buying EMP and sacrificing that directly. But we have those options there for those. Some people don't want to buy EMP, they want to sacrifice directly, so they have the option to do so. But that being said, the only, I guess, potential creative accounting that we do, which we again have been super transparent about, is the EMP ETH LP. So the EMP ETH LP that is sacrificed, half of that is actual Ethereum, and obviously you still, as a user, you still get full credit both of the EMP and the Ethereum side, as if you broke the LP and bought EMP. So you get absolutely no downside. But then we, as a protocol, can use that Ethereum to, number one, lower the liquidity because we break the LP strategically on our own, and we use the Ethereum side again to either generate more yield, pay some rewards, help buy peg back again. What I said earlier, even if nobody is buying EMP, as a protocol over time, we will always buy and burn our own EMP. So that is why we are so confident in peg recovery, because it's again mathematically guaranteed over time. Now, will it be in a week? Will it be in a month? Will it be in a few months? We don't know. I mean, that is the time element is what the variable is, but the math is again unfuddable with Fusion. So, all right, sorry. Hopefully that helps. Again, I'm not trying to be condescending, but that is something that we need to, I guess, explain more and more. LA, right? I don't know if we covered it, but does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, aside from all the external revenue streams, Fusion itself is such a powerful revenue earner. And as we scale up and are offering more batteries and more utility, you're going to see that Fusion itself is bringing in a lot more fees as well. And so that in itself is um, very different from how you would normally earn in a crypto protocol. And then you have all of these amazing external revenue streams. Um, so it's very powerful, and it's very unlike most other things that you see out there, or all other things that you see out there.
Perfect. Yep. All right, awesome. And then I see another one about not supporting DAAS moving forward. I mean, again, that's not what we're saying. I think we are doing everything we can to support DAAS, but it has to be a very calculated effort because we cannot support DAAS or legacy contracts at the expense of the protocol overall. So again, we are the masters of pivoting. So when we implement V3 and we get back to peg and we do everything we think that will jumpstart those contracts, if for whatever reason it doesn't, then we can, reevaluate. So yeah, I'm not at all saying that we're not going to support DOS or legacy contracts. In fact, it's the absolute opposite with the changes that we are making. So yeah.
Yeah, and in that regard, we are not at all hating on Detonator or the people within Detonator. I just wanted, I just wanted you guys to understand that it's not the team having done anything that has been the reason for the rewards going down. It is individual users claiming more often than compounding. And that in itself is an issue that is causing the rewards to lower. And Fusion was built to eradicate the issue where users are able to affect other users' rewards by not taking actions that are healthy for the protocol.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And again, when we mentioned a dagger in the hearts of the haters, obviously we're not referring at all to our users. We're referring to the argument that the dashboard money or the value of your microgrid is irrelevant. And again, when we have this new battery, you will understand what we mean because that will no longer be an argument that can be had. So we're killing the argument, not the users. So, oh man, we like to use colorful language around here, LA, but sometimes it maybe
We're gonna be
yeah,
real and we're gonna be us, and not everyone's gonna understand, and that's okay.
yeah, totally.
But we are not at all referring to people that just don't understand EMP Fusion. Of course, we're so excited to educate people who don't understand the protocol. Um, I'll give you a perfect example because Mega Buddy is asking. The reason you don't see those haters is because they're all banned. They're not allowed to be in our chats because we don't allow negative energy or people that try to belittle others to be around us. But for example, today, and shout out to Crypto Pride because he just put out a awesome video covering all of the revenue streams in Fusion, and he was provided a whole list, so he has all of them on there and he goes through all of them. So definitely go check that out. We posted that in all the chats yesterday. But what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. On one of Crypto Pride's videos, someone that has been banned from all of our channels for being just perpetually super, super negative was in the comments spreading lies, saying that, you know, he has a friend that deposited $150,000 into Fusion and he's only earning $5 a day. Well, that's impossible because I know personally I'm earning more than $5 a day, and I definitely don't have $150,000 deposited into Fusion, not anywhere close to that. So this is someone that's perpetually just everywhere we go, every video we make on anyone else's channel just has nothing better to do than just sit there all day long and spread hatred. Well, we can handle that, but when it's actual lies, we don't want other users to misunderstand or to believe something that someone says. And so when we're talking about a hater, we're talking about someone like that that is spreading lies and misinformation and negativity about our protocols intentionally over and over and over again. So you could understand why we'll be so excited to prove those people wrong.
Yep, 100%. And again, there those of you that are on this AMA and that show up and pay attention and invest in your investment, and all of you are amazing. I mean, we get very little haters that show up on the live AMAs or on in the live Telegram when we're on here. It's the ones like LA said that are professional trolls that either spread flat out lies or just frame things in a completely self-serving manner. And again, that doesn't have, we pride ourselves on education and being open. And we are, again, even to today, we are one of the most incredible communities in all of crypto in terms of patience and understanding and acceptance. But at some point, enough is enough. And those haters that are going to spread FUD or intentional FUD lies, you name it, they will be banned. And we've gotten a lot more strict with that as well, both in Telegram and Discord. I would say if you haven't seen the haters, then you probably haven't been around the other channels much. So again, Discord or even YouTube comments, everybody again uh, loves to weigh in. But the crazy part is, 9 times out of 10, those people aren't even invested in the project. So unless you're invested, then don't come around trying to create drama and FUD and everything else. But again, we try to stay super positive. I know we went down this tributary here at the end for whatever reason, but overall, again, we have everybody has been amazingly supportive. Everybody here in the live chat is, again, our diehards. So we love all of you, and we are a very embracing and positive protocol. It's just sometimes the the what's the sometimes the most negative people are the loudest, put it that way. So that just even makes it more of a point that those that are having amazing success in EMP Fusion and loving the yield and have the vision of the future, we need all of you to be just as loud as all of those people. So, all right, good Lord. Hopefully that was enough of that talk, I guess, man. Oh, you never know what you're going to find on the AMAs, right, LA? Yeah.
And honestly, most of what I said was a joke, like the t-shirts and all that. Like
Yeah.
I was joking, so don't take life too seriously. Um, yeah. So, for your earlier question, he just has an expanded part of the question. I totally understand about the rev streams, just didn't know if the EMP was being used somehow to help Fusion fund other rev sources slash projects.
Yeah, no doubt. So again, I appreciate that follow up. And yeah, I mean, we have been super transparent on this as well. Right now, the answer is no, and we would never take EMP out of Fusion to then be utilized. However, we have a very substantial amount of EMP that has already been accounted for in the treasury, and there would be a case for PEG management where we sell a little bit of that EMP when we're above peg and above peg only to not only boost rewards but also potentially again health and or bolster the treasury to get more yield elsewhere. So yeah, that would be the only edge case that we would potentially sell some EMP, but that is not EMP that has been sacrificed. And again, it would only be above peg where, it makes sense for us to do that. We would never, ever, ever dump on people's heads. And even that EMP that would potentially enter the ecosystem from the treasury, it will not be enough to dilute uh, everybody else because at the end of the day, there's still only 60 million total EMP no matter what. We're never ever minting more EMP, and so there is an upper cap on the amount of ownership you can have in Fusion. Even if we sold all the EMP from the treasury, it would be, a small portion in terms of percentages for ownership. So does that make sense, LA?
Yes, absolutely. And that is one of the future potential revenue streams that is going to help not only bolster rewards, but really greatly improve the health of eShare as well. So it's going to be a powerful one. But again, a reemphasis that it would only be used when we're healthily above peg.
Yep, totally. And again, to LA's point, that is something that will be super when that does happen, it not only is really powerful for the whole ecosystem as a whole, but then it again essentially locks in peg for forever because not only are we able to use the funds above peg to do what we need to, but if for whatever reason we go below peg, there's an incredible arbitrage opportunity for those wanting to get into EMP Fusion. Granted, there's EMP even left at that point, but that again, that essentially guarantees that we're able to even maintain peg, and then at that point there's no more EMP to be sold. Which again, if there's no tokens to sell, then the price can't go down. So again, just some food for thought. So.
Love it. All right, we have some more questions from Discord. Um, regarding Detonator V3, it says some powerful upgrades are on the way. What exactly are you going to implement?
Okay, sorry, I spaced out. What was the beginning of that?
Regarding Detonator V3, it
Okay.
says some powerful upgrades are on the way. What exactly are you going to implement?
Yeah, so I don't know if we put this in the white paper yet, but there's probably some documentation somewhere that we can put out again. But the long story short is uh a few things. So number one, um we are we're migrating the contract so that when you do claim from DAAS, then you're not able to break that LP and dump on our head. So we're still seeing a lot of sell pressure from those that hate EMP or whatever else. They're not bullish on Fusion, whatever the case may be. They take their rewards and they sell them every day. So we're essentially getting rid of that, which is super bullish because that will stop the bleeding in those contracts, and it doesn't handcuff other users because you're always able to sell your microgrid. Now, granted, you have to buy a split my position battery, but that is just part of the cost of doing business, so to speak. And the rewards, again, especially now because the batteries are unlimited, the rewards that you get are way far outweigh the potential cost. But anyway, that is the one of the major things that will be a lot more healthy moving forward. And then number two, we're implementing um, a hard claiming schedule where if for whatever reason you claim more than the recommended 1.6 or 5.2 strategy, then you will be progressively taxed under claiming. So again, when you claim 3 days a week, you get hit with a 10% tax. If you claim 4 days a week, you get hit with another 20% tax, and so on, where if you claim all 7 days, on the seventh day, you're getting no rewards because you're getting taxed 100%. So, and then every day thereafter, you basically have to wait a week for it to reset. So that is part, again, of the V3 upgrades that will help the protocol or the contract be much more sustainable. And the taxes go back into the pool balance. So again, at the end of the day, it's very Detonator and DAAS contracts are very, very simple to understand. If there are more users claiming than there are depositing, then there is no way possible that no matter what we implement, that alone is the issue. So what we're implementing is again real ways to try to curb that, and we're thinking based on all the math and the research that this will be a good solution. And again, the whole reason Detonator and DAAS contracts were popular to begin with will reset, and people will be attracted to go into them again because the pool balance is going up, and it could be a way to get more sacrifice points over the long run. So, anything you want to add to that, LA? Again, I'll try to cover it all.
Yeah, and there's a whole list of upgrades that we've implemented. Like I believe there's some. It's been a while since I've personally read the whole list, since it's mostly the devs working on implementing it. But I believe there's some slight tweaks to how the lottery's done and stuff like that as well. There's a whole bunch. So when it comes time, we will put out documentation with the exact percentages, because obviously anything we mention on these AMAs are just examples. The exact percentages, the exact changes, everything that is being implemented, so that you guys can all read it, and we'll go through it together on the AMA as well once we have that documentation out.
Perfect. Okay.
All right. Just to clarify, when Fusion upgrades, the new batteries will be with capacity limits and possibly a shelf life. My question is, will the batteries bought up to that point, the OGs, stay unlimited like they are now, or automatically convert over to the limitations of the newer ones?
Yeah, so the plan right now, again, everything is subject to change, but the way that we're envisioning that is that everybody will be subject to the new structure, but we will airdrop you at least your first battery for free. So again, you're not able to keep the unlimited capacity, but because you already bought a battery, we will airdrop you a free one, to make up for that. So does that make sense, LA?
Yeah, this was meant to be a limited time bonus for all of you who got in right away, who have stuck out this waiting period, waiting for Fusion to launch, and also just to keep things very simple at the beginning before we add on any more complex layers. The capacities will be an important part of Fusion because all the battery sales go towards rewarding users in Fusion. All of the that energy that is being used to claim or to reallocate or to activate, deactivate, all of this adds extra rewards to Fusion. And so we want to continue to think from the mindset of how to make Fusion as a revenue stream the most powerful so that we can reward the users as much as possible.
Yep, 100%. And that goes back to changing your mindset. I mean, you know, obviously, if you're already in Fusion, you should be bullish on the implementations we make that require people to spend more M energy because that is direct revenue to all of you that are in Fusion. So it's instead of looking at it as an additional fee, look at it as an additional reward. Again, it's about how you perceive that. And obviously, we're not going to be gouging people and creating crazy, unrealistic battery prices just to generate more funds. But the whole idea is that it's a self-serving mechanism to the protocol.
Yeah, and just a reminder that the base level of those will always be extremely affordable, and you will kind of add onto it as you need higher capacities by upgrading your battery. And so all of our choices, like I said, are meant to generate as much revenue for the protocol so that we can reward the users, but our thought process is also around the users and what is personally fair to each of you when it comes to buying a battery.
Yep, 100%. And again, capacities, to LA's point, capacities are convenience based, meaning if you're a minnow and you can't afford, a $15 battery, then all that means, or again, you still have to buy the original battery, but if you're a minnow and you can't afford upgrading your battery, then that just means that you have to check your rewards more often. So it has nothing to do with the amount of yield you're going to get. It's just simply a convenience or a quality of life upgrade. And if you're a whale and you don't want to check, your earnings every day or every multiple times a day, then you buy a bigger battery and then you can not have to check it every day. So again, there's just another reason that the ecosystem is not predatory whatsoever.
Yes. All right. What are the team's thoughts on USDT Tether? I notice MICA European stablecoin regulations active as of July 1st are leading to all EU exchanges delisting Tether, and it would seem that the SEC in the US also have Tether in their sights. Can I ask why USDT was chosen as the first stablecoin battery over USDC?
Yeah, so there are a couple of things. This is for those that haven't been around, and it's just funny to me because history repeats itself. Those that haven't been around in multiple crypto cycles, every single cycle there is the Tether FUD, and this is something again. Another example is I think it's called China bans Bitcoin.com or something like that, and you literally can see. Uh, like 150 articles where China has banned Bitcoin and then, reinstated it. So the point is you can't trust, the narratives. Obviously, you know, I'm very doubtful that this is the real case, that Tether is actually going to be impacted. And again, centralized exchanges have the ability to do that. That's why we always say don't use centralized exchanges when you can avoid them. But to bring Tether down overall is just not realistic in my opinion. And the FUD comes from their liquid backing. Again, USDT is Coinbase, or they have a lot more transparency where the money comes from. USDT, the reserves are not as transparent as we would like to be, but USDT is the industry standard. So, and that to answer that question, the only reason we chose USDT was because that has the most liquidity. So, we could easily implement another battery for USDC, if we needed to. But honestly, I just feel like it's yet another narrative that we see every single cycle about the Tether FUD. So, again, not financial advice. And if you are not comfortable holding Tether, then just sell it to USDC or Ethereum or more EMP, whenever you get the power cycle and cash out, just sell it immediately for something you are more comfortable holding.
And the good news is you'll be able to do that on our BSC DEX very
I
soon.
love it. Yes, let's go. Totally. A one-stop shop, baby. Yeah, so.
Because we're not going to delist it. So.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Hello. Just wondering if the dev team will consider adding a selling tax when swapping EMP to ETH. Example, 5% to 20% selling tax, and the tax can reward the Fusion holders. I believe the selling tax can benefit everybody. For sellers, they can take profit with contribution to the community. For swing traders, they can still swing but contribute part of their swinging strategy profit to community. For Fusion holder, more juicy rewards. For EMP holder, can speed up the price uptrend.
Yes, so I appreciate the help in trying to brainstorm, but obviously if we would have been able to implement this, and not affect other things, we would have. So, I've been pretty vocal on my view about taxes. I think that it's lazy economics. However, there are some cases that taxes are powerful, and we'll maybe be implementing that in another ecosystem moving forward. But and we have taxes on the vaults, or not the vaults, but the farms. We did rather, and now we don't. Some of the other ones that aren't part of the auto vaults still have taxes, but that feeds Sparkler. Um, and so again, my point is taxes have their place, but to retroactively apply taxes, number one, it's not fair. So it's not part of our ethos to change the rules on an actual token like that. Obviously, Detonator, people make the argument, well, we're changing the rules, um, but that is for the betterment of Detonator itself, and really we're not, because they can still cash out. We would, never implement a way to handcuff users, but anyway, a tax does do that. So, and then on top of that, because we didn't implement a tax to begin with, uh, it is not possible to add a token tax, again, retroactively. So, not only is it not fair, but technically we would have to airdrop every user the new EMP token with the tax implemented and go through an entire migration. It's too much. And, we've made a decision to not do that. But and at the end of the day, yes, I mean, the attacks like that may help us get to peg faster, but at the end of the day, we're still gonna get to peg. So again, hopefully that answers some of the rationale behind that, but it's not as easy as it sounds.
Totally. AJ did a good job of responding to a question about this online, but it might merit additional discussion on the AMA. It is possible and maybe likely to be some lag between the increase in rewards / passive income and the significant increase we expect to see in microgrid value upon achieving peg. It is a significant change in what I expected, but I personally am so excited by sorry, I lost my place. It is, where was I? It is a significant change in what I expected, but I personally am so excited by the significantly higher microgrid value that I am concerned about the potential lag in passive income flows. It is my belief that the team will shift their focus to supporting eSHARE, which will make rewards slightly stronger, as our rewards are paid in energy, which mirrors the value of eShare.
Okay, was there a question in there? I just
Yeah,
got,
he
okay,
wants you to go further on the discussion about how we're going to scale up the rewards as we get closer to peg.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think we discussed that a lot in the beginning of the AMA, but just to quickly go over that, multiple ways. So, number one, again, we're adding more revenue streams. Again, the mega decks, additional chains, the Honor versus Madness game, maybe some other things that we haven't even talked about that all increase the revenue. Which again, the more revenue, the higher the APR. And then twofold, we will reduce the amount of sacrifice points by either buying back microgrids from the market or some other mechanisms that I alluded to as alpha to reduce the amount of sacrifice points or ownership in the protocol that rewards are being distributed to, which again, mathematically, even if it's the same amount of rewards, if there are less people getting those rewards, that will automatically increase the APR. So those are the two big things. And, we have a ton of other, like again, the peg maintenance bot that sells EMP above peg, that will help bolster rewards and also eShare, buying burning of eShare. There's just so many things that, you know, we've discussed. But yeah, just go back and listen to the first hour of the AMA on everything that we said. Does that you want to add to that, LA? I don't know. Without reiterating everything we already said, but
I think what you just touched on is so bullish. The fact that, as we get closer to peg, we're also going to be buying microgrids, and that takes that off the map because a lot of that will be burned.
for sure.
That in itself, what you just touched on, is quite powerful in that regard because that pizza is being broken down into less pieces, so each user gets a bigger chunk.
Yep, totally. And again, that's why we say the math is unfuttable because again, the math alone determines that. It's not what I'm saying. It's not what LA says. You don't have to trust us. You just have to look at the numbers. And again, as we are able to buy microgrids off the market, whether they're below market value or maybe they're at market value, maybe nobody is willing to sell their EMP or their microgrids below market value, then we're forced to buy it at market value, which again further uh, further supports the argument of your microgrid value actually having the market value that is displayed. So,
I just
yeah,
thought something else that's so bullish to answer that question,
yeah,
actually. So obviously right now with the peg bonus, unless a microgrid is discounted heavily, it's not necessarily being purchased at this moment because it makes sense to deposit directly if you're not buying one at a large enough discount that it would make sense with the peg bonus. But when we get back to peg and people don't have to discount much in order to sell, there's very likely to be a lot more microgrids on the market and a lot more sacrifice points up for sale. Well, don't forget that when those are listed, the rewards on those sac points are going to the treasury to then get distributed out to everybody else to bolster rewards. That's part of the built-in mechanism that helps with rewards. And so if there's hundreds and hundreds of microgrids on that page, can you imagine how many of those rewards are
getting shot right back out to the users
For
every day.
sure. Yeah, no, 100%. And again, that's the poetic justice of the ecosystem too. Those that want to exit or get out and don't have the long-term vision, they're able to do so, but they're not gonna get any more rewards once they make that decision. So yeah, I mean, again, it rewards. There's so many mechanisms inside of EMP Fusion that reward, that delayed gratification, the long-term vision, everything that we have preached about for 2.5 years, everything that all the multi-million dollar crypto, participants say about hodling and not gambling. I mean, again, Fusion is the absolute epitome of all of those concepts, all built into one beautiful, sexy protocol. So, yeah. Oh man, I get excited every time we talk about it, LA.
The only rest of the chatter is all about how sexy you are, apparently, according to these boys. So, um,
Yeah. The AMA has gone too long when we get to this point, right? So,
uh, you can let Vino know at a later time what your favorite tattoo is.
oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I have a few favorites. I have a mom tattoo. That's one of my favorites. What else? Oh, I have a strong man on my right arm. Again, the dichotomy of that. Vintage strong man. I find that hilarious. And what else? Oh, and I have a pinup uh of my grandma who is 104 years old. So it was her in her heyday. Not her at 104 years old, but so yeah, there you go. Those are my some favorite tattoos for sure. Yeah.
Love it. That's amazing. Well, I think that's it, unless you see any more in the chat that we missed.
No, I think that's it. I think it's great. Again, all of you that are here and stick through it, you are the OGs. You are the real ones. We love all of you. Again, I know that sometimes we get fired up on the AMAs, and we talk, you know, in very colorful language, but that's just us being real. Like LA said, we're not in a we try to be politically correct, but we're not gonna tailor our approach when it comes to what we've been doing for the last 2.5 years. But again, I mean, the future is just so bright, and those of you that do get it are just gonna win so hard, and that's really all that I take pride in. And LA, I know you do as well as a team member. I mean, we want all of you to win, and we're giving all of you the keys to the kingdom. It's up to you to utilize them. So yeah, again, LA, any final words, final thoughts? Go ahead.
We love all you guys. We're very, very excited, and we we have so much to come in the future. So much. There's so much bullishness on the way. Um, But we did want to mention we are still on for Thursday night. I know in the US there is a holiday, but we are still planning to have our Thursday night AMA. So for any of you who are around that night, we will be with you.
Yep, 100%. Yep, we're gonna do the 4th of July thing in the daytime, so we will be here at night. And I know our audience is global, so we don't have to all celebrate the silly American holidays. Although the independence of America, that's a pretty important one, I guess. But yeah.
Today is Canada Day. Did you know that?
What's that?
Today is Canada Day. Did you know that?
I did not know that. There you go. Well, shout out to all the Canadians, eh?
Happy birthday to
Yeah.
Canada and all my fellow Canadians.
I love it. Absolutely. Yes. Shout out to all of you. All right. Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up, LA. Again, I thought today might be a little more abbreviated, but we have so much going on that the new norm is a 2-hour AMA. So,
I totally thought today was going to be way shorter.
yeah, totally.
Oh well.
Yeah. Well, again, we'll get back on track again. I know it's a lot of fusion in the beginning. Again, celebrating our 2 weeks But as we continue to move forward, we can definitely, start discussing more of the other franchise updates, really. And again, we will have more to talk about when we're moving to the big multi-chain mega DEX anyway. So it's been good timing. I mean, we manage our rollouts and our development around, a manageable pace. Again, we always joke that EMP Fusion would be launching along with everything else, but how it all worked out was really for the best, so that each piece of the protocol can have its own time to shine for sure. So, all right, awesome. Well, on that note, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you all for being here. Like LA said, we will be here on Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. Keep an eye out on all of our socials for any announcements in the meantime, and please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Please make sure to support all of our socials. And again, we will have a few more videos coming out, so make sure that you are supporting all the content creators as well. And yeah, all right, good night, good day. We'll see you on Thursday.